Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching. My name is Terry Keenan. I'm the senior monster, I said last week, the senior minister of the Santa Anita Church in Arcadia, California, and I'm glad you're with us this morning. This is an Easter time, but this is also a 4th of July time, a time of independence, and we have so much to be thankful for. We're going to cover a little bit of that in our sermon today to give you a wonderful idea of what it's like to be an American. Talk to you in a moment.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All the power and intelligence of the universe is already within, waiting to be utilized. The divine spark must be fanned into a blaze of the living fire of your own divinity. Ernest Holmes wrote this, and it was in the January 2003 issue of the Science of Mind magazine. Now, here's a little refresher for you. Each week during the last month and skipping a week now, we fanned the divine spark. First, we explored the importance of keeping it simple, sweetheart. Remembering it's all love and law. That was our S for spark. Next, we looked at how we fanned the flame by fully participating in life through playing, praying, paying, and staying. Remember that? That was our P of spark. The third Sunday, we talked about, but more importantly, we experienced the awesome nature of God. That was our A. And then we explored the idea that our outer world is a reflection, our R, of the inner world, and realized we don't actually create from who we are, but from who we think we are. That's a good one. And then we fanned the spark by experiencing the jewel that is our own divinity. So today we add the final ingredient to spark, the divine flame within us, and that is our K. Kick it into gear. So what the heck does that mean? Well, let's look at that a little bit. There's a key ingredient to the ability to kick it into gear, and to illustrate the power and potential of this ingredient, and because this is the first Sunday we are celebrating the 4th of July, I want to share with you a piece of American history from an unlikely source, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. It's an account of what occurred at a Continental Congress beginning on June 7th, 1776. At this Congress were the likes of Samuel Adams, Richard Henry Lee, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and Patrick Henry. Now, there'll be a quiz at the end of this account regarding what the key ingredient is, so be sure to pay attention. On June 7th, 1776, Richard Henry Lee arose, addressed the chair, and to the startled assembly made this motion. Gentlemen, I make the motion that these United States are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they be absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. Lee's astounding motion was discussed fervently and at such length that he began to lose patience. Finally, after days of argument, he again took the floor and declared in a clear, firm voice, Mr. President, we have discussed this issue for days. It is the only course for us to follow. Why then, sir, do we longer delay? Why still deliberate? Let this happy day give birth to an American republic. Let her arise not to devastate and to conquer, but to reestablish the reign of peace and of law. The eyes of Europe are upon us. She demands of us a living example of freedom that may exhibit a contrast in the felicity of the citizen to the ever-increasing tyranny. Before his motion was finally voted upon, Lee was called back to Virginia because of serious family illness. But before leaving, he placed his cause in the hands of a friend, Thomas Jefferson, who promised to fight until favorable action was taken. Shortly thereafter, the President of the Congress appointed Jefferson as chairman of a committee to draw up a Declaration of Independence. Long and hard, the committee labored on a document, and on June 28th, the original draft was read before the Congress. For several days it was discussed, altered, and made ready. Then on July 4th, 1776, Thomas Jefferson stood before the assembly and fearlessly read the most momentous decision ever placed upon paper. When in the course of human events, it is necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind acquires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so Thomas Jefferson read for the first time the Declaration of Independence. When he finished, the document was voted upon, accepted, and signed by 56 men, every one staking his own life upon his decision to write his name. Analysis of the events that led to the crafting and signing of the Declaration of Independence shows that the American nation was born of a decision created by a mastermind consisting of 56 men. Note well the fact that it was their decision that ensured the success of Washington's armies, because the spirit of that decision was in the heart of every soldier who fought with him, and served as a spiritual power that recognizes no such thing as failure. By that decision came into existence a nation destined to bring to humankind forever the privilege of making decisions. And so, my friends, this is somewhat of a who's buried in Grant's tomb question, but what is the key ingredient of this morning's topic? Ah, yes, a decision. We kick into gear the igniting of the spark of our divine flame within by making a decision. And before we talk about what kind of a decision, I want to explore for a moment what a decision really is. The word decision comes from the Latin root de, meaning from, and cadere, meaning to cut. Therefore, a decision means cutting from any other possibility. A true decision, then, means you are committed to achieving a result and then cutting yourself off from any other possibility. Those 56 men who signed our Declaration of Independence made a true decision. Many of us have actually weak decision-making muscles. We fail to realize what it means to make a real decision. And we absolutely do not realize the powerful force a truly committed decision calls forth. Now that's what W.H. Murray in his wonderful book, The Scottish Himalayan Expedition, meant when he wrote, "Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt of, that would have come his way." I learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. "Whatever you can do or dream, you can believe it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it." So let's put this in the context of our spiritual lives. What are we truly committed to spiritually? Are we committed to breaking through beliefs and perceptions that keep us playing small in the world? Are we committed to releasing anger and judgment and guilt and shame? Are we committed to evolving our own consciousness? Are we committed to supporting the evolution of consciousness of humanity? If so, are we committed to making moment-by-moment decisions that support these ideas? It's interesting to consider that our committed decisions show up in two very specific places: our calendars and our checkbooks. No matter what we say we value, or even what we think our priorities are, we have only to look at our calendars and our checkbooks to see the decisions we have made about what we truly value. I know that often we worry about whether we are making the right decisions, so much so that we get paralyzed. And I was thinking about a scene out of a Star Wars movie from the Good trilogy. Do you remember when Luke Skywalker is just being trained in how to use the Force, how to be in harmony with the law of his own being, accessing the power and the capacity, the brilliance that's within him and in every one of us, I might add? And his instructor, Yoda, I wish I could do his voice, keeps saying, "Go with the Force, Luke. Go with the Force." Luke finally turns to Yoda and he says, "But how do I know if I am making the right decision or the wrong decision?" And Yoda says to him, "You will know by peace and calm." And any decision you make to deepen your own spirituality, to live from a higher way of being, any decision you make that ignites the spark of the divine flame within you will bring you peace and calm, as well as an anchoredness, a centeredness, because when you make such decisions, you are at one with the laws of your own being, your own nature. Now, this doesn't mean you will always be 100% comfortable with your decision. If it is a big decision, one that is causing you to stretch and grow, there may be some trepidation. But underneath that will be a knowing that it is right. And having said all that, let me let you in on a little secret. You cannot really make a wrong decision, a bad decision. Any step you take will lead eventually to your good, because a negative experience encountered will produce the challenge in which to outgrow the kind of consciousness from which the choice was made, leading to a higher consciousness from which more constructive steps will be taken. So a wrong decision is actually the right decision at that particular time. In Spiritual Awareness, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Our divine nature never deserts us. Like the prodigal son, we may wander into far countries of despair, but the divinity within us ever gently urges us back to the center of our true being. It ever reminds us of its presence. Self will direct our every decision with intelligence and make perfect our way before us." So we can't really get it wrong. That's good to know, isn't it? It can perhaps alleviate our analysis paralysis somewhat so that we can move forward in our lives. Don't you love that, analysis paralysis? Worked hard on that one. I wonder this morning if there were one committed decision you could make that would absolutely spark your own divinity. It would absolutely set fire to the spark of your own divinity. Now think about that for a moment. One decision that would spark your own divinity. Raymond Charles Barker, in The Power of Decision, wrote, "Decision is the most important function of the individual mind. No creative process can begin until a decision is made." What might that decision be? Are you willing to make it right here, right now? Are you willing to pledge allegiance to your own growth, your own dreams, your own divinity here today by making that decision? If so, I'd like you, wherever you are, just stand right now with me and take a different pledge of allegiance. And repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the God of one heart, one mind, one love. And to this decision that supports my growth, one moment under God, indivisible, with peace, with calm, and with power. Thank you. That was powerful. Now, if you were standing, you may be seated. So, we end our month, begin our new month, with the quote we've been using just about each week. All the power and the intelligence of the universe is already within, waiting to be utilized. The divine spark must be fanned into a flame of the living fire of your own divinity. Fan the flame by keeping things simple, sweetheart. Fan the flame by fully participating in life. Fan the flame by experiencing the awesome nature of God. Fan the flame by connecting with the jewel of the divine that you are, so that your outer world is a reflection of that. And fan the flame by kicking it into gear with the decisions that support your evolution in consciousness. And let yourself grow. Let yourself become. And please join me in a closing prayer. We're letting ourselves be calm now to get away from some of the madness of our lives. We're hit every day with the constant things of negativity that the politicians and the naysayers wish us to have, and let us know that we are in charge of our divinity. As we work with the infinite presence, our world takes a new light, a new way of being, a new seeing, a new beauty. We recognize the presence of God in everything we see and do and hear, and we know that as we recognize that presence, we are changing the world for the better. Things can happen, as are happening now with the pandemic going on, that we can be frightened, confused, carried forward, but we know that as we carry ourselves and as God carries us in the bosom of intelligent peace, we are carried forward in light. We are carried forward in joy. And we know that around us, instead of having illness, we are spreading peace. We are spreading love, for we see that infinite spirit, that infinite presence, that universal mind thought in everything we say and do. And we do not allow ourselves to fall into the negativity that so many in the world find to be their darkness. We bring the light. Kick it into light. Kick it into greatness, and let yourself show yourself, your family, your friends, your world how wonderful life can be when we choose the outcome, when we work with life. For we know that as we work with life, we work with God. And as we work with God, all takes a turn for the better. And we release our thought now to let it go forth into the universal mind and bring forth light into the world, new discoveries being made, new understandings being hatched, new love being lived. And we let ourselves grow and become. We release our thought to go out into the universe, and we say, so let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm going to ask you to enjoy something else with me, and that is a chance and an opportunity and a twisting of the arm to give to the church. We need your help, just like everything else needs help right now. People come to us every day to help, and we do what we can. But like you, we are limited. But we know that that limitation is temporary and that we are moving forward into the light of God. Give of yourself as you can to help this church and all the messages of light and love grow. If the message is not of love and light, skip it out and let it be. And with me now say, God, you are the source of all my good. With love and gratitude, I give my gift back to you. God, you are the source of all my good. With love and gratitude, I give my gift back to you. And so it is.
Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let love begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We're very happy to have you here with us on this wonderful 4th of July weekend. We're taping this or recording it. Taping is such an old term anymore. On July 4th during the day so that you can enjoy it for your times today and tomorrow and so on. Remember the give of your love. Hold your family together in your heart. Let no one rain on your parade. Let yourself be all that you can be. I ran across a poem recently, and I wanted to share it with you. This is by Heidi Thomas, and it says, "The seasons will always turn. The clouds will gather, and the cold will come. We will survive them. We will grow regardless of the weather. We will know wonder where there has been despair. There will be happiness, and we will remember it. There will be friendships that we won't forget. Love is a constant, whereby we endure all winters and all storms. It is the climate in which all things can thrive. Welcome the darkness. Embrace it as a canopy from which the stars can hang, for there are always stars when we are where we ought to be, each with our place, each with our purpose, as fixed and familiar as the constellations. The darkness is beautiful, for how else can we shine? Let yourself shine as you go forward today with another sense of truth and love, peace, forgiveness, and joy. Let your love light the way for you and so many others. And we bring pain and joy to an end and celebrate happiness and light. And now may the light of God surround you, the love of God enfold you, the power of God protect you, and the presence of God watch over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Amen.